Jeannie, I think today it's really starting to sink in. Yesterday was pretty much a day of shock, but today, as we learn more and more victims' names, as we see their pictures, as we talk to their family members and their friends, it just really hits home that this is real. This act of terror claimed 49 lives and injured dozens of others who, at this hour, many of them still in the hospital recovering, some in grave condition. Now, Orange Avenue, where the Pulse nightclub is, where this all unfolded early Sunday morning, that road, as you can see behind me, is still blocked off. Police have a very tedious, long, lengthy investigation as they investigate these 49 murders and this just massacre that happened inside this nightclub. And we're hearing from friends of loved ones, like Stephanie Christopher, who told me today she came to a memorial, a growing memorial about 10 minutes from here, and said she woke up this morning not knowing if her friend had lived or died, and she clicked the refresh button over and over and over again, waiting to see if she could find out about him. And sadly, he was among the dead. Now, we have also learned that two of the victims are from our Jacksonville area. Rodney Sumter was shot in the back during this attack, and today had an opportunity to meet up with his friend, and he visited with Rodney in the hospital. You're going to hear what he says Rodney told him went on inside of that nightclub. Also, Daryl Burt was killed in this massacre. Daryl goes by the name of DJ. He was a financial aid officer at Jacksonville's Kaiser University campus. And First Coast News' Jason Rantala is in the studio now, continuing our team coverage with more on the victims. Jason Rantala reporting live tonight. Thank you, Jason. And today I had an opportunity to catch up with Chris Enzo. He got to visit Rodney Sumter in the hospital after he was shot. I want to warn you, some of how he describes what Rodney told him is graphic, but listen to him describe in Rodney's words what it was like inside that nightclub. So he was shot 3 times while he was bartending at the Pulse. What did he say it was like inside that nightclub when this all unfolded?
He described it play by play almost. Basically, he said that he saw the assailant come in. He said he described the sound of the bullets piercing their flesh, them dying, and then the bullets being very, very calculated. The bullets were not used to hit anything but people, so it seems like this guy was very trained. Rodney was very, very clear that the gunshots never stopped from the time that he heard the gunshots to the time that he left. So when he was shot with those 3 bullets, he hit the ground from the force of the bullets. And when he hit the ground, he was basically confronted with the choice of living or dying. And basically he said he put all his energy into standing up and running out the back entry so he could live. And fortunately, he met up with someone named Josh who was able to assist him in getting to the hospital.
For you, someone who is from this community, I mean, how does this strike you to know that this tragedy happened right here?
I'd say personally it resonates very deeply. My goal now is to kind of just move people out of fear. We just have to stick together. We have to, just like how New Yorkers stick together in all their tragedy, we as Orlando citizens, we need to come together and be strong about this and pull through it and have a better sense of community.
And that's the message he wants to get out. Don't live in fear. You can't let this stop you from living life. Now, today we stopped by the Florida gun shop where Omar Mateen purchased guns. The owner of the Port St. Lucie gun shop today made it very clear that Mateen purchased those weapons, a handgun and the rifle, legally. Ed Henson says that the suspect did pass the background check. He says he did not know him personally, and he did not sell Mateen body armor, as some have speculated. 3 times he called Mateen an evil person, and he says, "I'm sorry he picked my place. I wish he had picked no place."
I've seen him. I can't tell you I know him. I'd be lying to you. He's a customer. He made a purchase, and it's horrible. I'm just sorry he picked my place. I wish he picked no place.
Now, Henson expressed his condolences for all of the victims, for their families and their loved ones, and he said he's not going to be made out to be a villain. He said, "It's horrible, but I don't make the laws, I abide by them." That was from Mr. Henson. Now, today, the FBI wrapped up its investigation at the home of Omar Mateen. Mateen was 29 years old. He was born in New York, but raised here in Florida. He was a devout Muslim, and he had been questioned by the FBI not once, not twice, but 3 times since 2013 for possible terrorism ties. He was never charged. He was never arrested. But the search for answers, as we all know, is very much far from over. Now today, Mateen's father spoke out to the media. Sadiq Mateen says that the family is shocked and it does not approve of what their son did.
I just want to get my message out to all of my American brother and sister that, you know, we don't approve. We are not that kind of family. And it was what he did was he was on his own. I take side with those people. They got killed, their family, and those people they got injured. He had no right to do anything.
Right.
His right was to go get educated more and paid attention to his family, his wife, and his kid, and made sure that his son got good education. And that's the philosophy I have.
So many families grieving over this tragedy. And what if you found out about your friends being involved in this Pulse nightclub shooting while you were on a plane? Tonight, First Coast News' LaSalle Bank spoke with someone who was on his way to Orlando when he found out what had happened. And there really has been a tremendous outpouring of support here in this Orlando community. Everyone coming together in a unified sense, just wanting to spread a message of love. And it's 7 o'clock this evening, about 10 minutes from where we are right now in the heart of downtown Orlando. There's going to be a vigil hosted by Equality Florida, and they're expecting anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people to turn out there tonight and to come together unified to support all of those families, all of those loved ones, all of those friends, and all of the victims impacted by this tragedy here at the Pulse nightclub right behind me. That is the latest from Orlando. We're going to have a lot more coming up in live reports for you during our 5:30 and 6 o'clock newscasts. Jeannie and Ken will send it back into you.
It's terrible. He's my only child.
I felt like my whole world was torn apart.
You're in a war zone. It was just so chaotic.
And just pure pandemonium.
Something like this is a stab to the heart.
Good evening. Tragedy and terror hitting all too close to home. 49 lives lost, 49 families mourning right now.
Tonight, family members in the Orlando shooting area are slowly learning more information about their lost loved ones. The gunman also dead, killed by SWAT in an exchange of gunfire. Now, this is a list of those killed in the largest mass shooting in American history. 2 victims we know now are from Jacksonville. One did not survive. The other is recovering tonight. 28-year-old Daryl Roman Burt II was killed during the shooting spree. Rodney Sumter was hit in the crossfire 3 times inside the Pulse nightclub early Sunday morning. We're told right now that he is in stable condition.
Tonight, we're also learning more about the gunman. Officials say Omar Mateen opened fire both inside and outside of the nightclub. We're told he pledged his allegiance to ISIS just moments before the chaos. The FBI had its own concerns, investigating Mateen twice in the last 4 years for possible links with violent extremism. We're digging deeper tonight at 6.
Heather Crawford joins us live now from Orlando with the very latest on all of this.
Jeannie, the #1 priority today was a grueling task for law enforcement. It was for them to notify the next of kin that their loved ones had died in this act of terror that took place inside the Pulse nightclub just blocks behind me. Here we are all these hours since this tragedy unfolded, and Orange Avenue, where that nightclub is located, is still at this hour as police investigated what happened, what unfolded inside there early Sunday morning. Now, Orlando police are telling us that right now 48 of the 49 families have been notified that their loved ones died in this tragedy. There are dozens of others who tonight are in the hospital. Some underwent surgery today, some in serious condition, all different levels of care right now. They're receiving it at local hospitals. But today's a day that really has hit home, that this tragedy is really real. We're starting to see the names and the pictures, the faces, and hearing the stories of these people who lost their lives. And the mayor of Orlando said, "We will not be defined by this act of terror." And he tweeted this out today. He said, "Our community is already starting to heal. Now we need to grieve." And one place where people are coming together to try and heal and to grieve is at a memorial about 10 minutes from where I am in the heart of downtown Orlando. And that is where we find First Coast News' Brittany Dion, who continues our team coverage now live. Brittany? Good evening, Jeannie and Ken. And that man says he thanks God that he was kept safe, but he told me today he wishes everyone had been kept safe. He found out today that he lost 5 of his close friends in this massacre at the Pulse nightclub shooting just a few blocks behind me. And today he and dozens of other mourners gathered together at a plaza in the heart of downtown Orlando to pay their respects to their loved ones. A solemn moment in downtown Orlando as dozens of people, one by one, place flowers at a growing memorial for the victims of the deadliest mass shooting in our nation's history.
Important that we show support right now.
Tim and Stephanie Christopher endured more than 24 hours waiting to hear any word about their friend Shane Tomlinson as the list of dead grew.
The names above him on that list I know by heart because I refreshed and refreshed, just waiting for his name, hoping that I wasn't going to see his name.
Tomlinson was at Pulse when the gunman opened fire.
He was a shining spark of love everywhere he went, and the world is worse without him.
They are not alone in their loss.
To find out that something like this happened and these innocent lives were taken unjustly, it's not right.
Giovanni Nieves woke up to a barrage of text messages Sunday morning. Friends wondering if he was okay. He was supposed to be at Pulse Saturday night, but ended up not going. He had friends, though, who were inside and never made it home.
I felt like my whole world was torn apart. I mean, we are one community. We are one. We unite as one. And to feel that part of that has been ripped apart and taken away from you, it's like losing a family member. It really is.
Nobody knows what to do at all. It's senseless.
The Christophers are now left, like so many, trying to explain what happened to their children.
He understands bad guys and good guys, right? Bad guys? And the policemen are the good guys? That's right. So we're just kind of leaving it at that right now.
Even if they can't understand this tragedy themselves. And so tonight at 7 o'clock, thousands of people are going to gather together there where that memorial is to lean on one another, to come together, to try and heal and start the grieving process, and just to be there for each other and to spread a message of love. We're going to continue to be here in Orlando, gathering new information as it develops. We're going to have more live coverage for you tonight on First Coast News at 11. But for now, that is the latest from Orlando. Ken and Jeannie, back to you.
Thanks, Heather.
And today is the day that so many families here in Orlando found out that their loved ones did not survive the mass shooting in the Pulse nightclub behind me, which unfolded about 48 hours ago. And here we are nearly 2 days later, in this main artery through the heart of Orlando. Orange Avenue remains shut down this evening as investigators continue to comb through the evidence inside of that nightclub. Now, the resounding message from the mayor of Orlando today is that hate will not define us, hate will not defeat us. The mayor telling everyone that they can't change what happened, but we can show those who would seek to harm us that love conquers. Now tonight, the FBI is continuing to investigate the lead agency into this act of terrorism. And here is what we know right now. The death toll stands this evening at 49 people plus the gunman. Now, all of the victims have now been identified, and as of today, all of the families have been notified. Of the more than 50 people injured, dozens remain in the hospital. 5 are now in what's being described as grave condition. And tonight, we have learned that President Obama will be visiting Orlando on Thursday to meet with victims' families and with first responders. As for the 29-year-old gunman, Omar Mateen, after being interviewed by the FBI several times since 2013, the agency says he was not a threat. He was able to legally purchase the assault rifle and handgun used in the attacks. The focus tonight is on the victims and on the survivors, and thousands gathered just a few hours ago, about 10 minutes from here, to pay tribute at a vigil this evening. A very powerful moment, very powerful scene. First Coast News' Brittany Dion continues our team coverage now. She was there at the vigil. And an Orlando resident just walked up to me a minute ago, and we were talking about how all the eyes on in this world really are right now on Orlando. There are media outlets from all over the globe here in Orlando covering this tragedy. And as we see in so many tragedies, that people here are not focusing on the evil act that happened in the nightclub behind me. They are really focusing on uniting this community. I was at that vigil tonight where Brittany also was, and it was just so powerful to see all the people standing together united. It's a tragedy that hits close to home for so many, and it's compelled others from far away to come here to help, like Nick Zuko from Chicago.
Well, I got off a plane. I went and stood with those people there the night after it happened just to say that we're not afraid.
Now, with 4 friends killed and 8 more still in the hospital, he waited 5 hours in line to donate blood for the very first time. Like many, finding comfort in all different ways.
When something hits home like it's hitting home right now, I feel it's the only thing I can do to make myself feel better and maybe some other people also.
Calling himself the Lone Patriot Rider, this Orlando man rode his horse Banjo close to the crime scene, armed with the American flag.
We are here to stay!
While thousands more gathered in the heart of downtown to spread a message of love. Joel Moritz brought Jacob all the way from Illinois, one of 12 comfort dogs with Lutheran Church Charities, here to help console this hurting community.
Our dogs, what we train them to do is to come with unconditional love, unjudgmental love, and just help people heal from such a tragedy, such a crisis.
He says that comfort is not about what you say, but what you don't.
We just show up and shut up and let the dogs just do what they do and make people feel better, take them to another place, help them start healing.
An act meant to tear people apart, instead, is bringing them closer.
You know, I'm not going to run from hate. I'm going to run towards the hope. The entire world is coming together.
And if you're at home sitting here watching, saying, what can you do? What can you do to help? Well, one way that you can give to this community is by donating blood. It's a simple act that really can help a lot of people. And throughout the day, we have really seen so many random acts of kindness. We were heading from this scene, from the crime scene, over to the vigil earlier this evening, and we saw a group of people running down the street, all with bags around their shoulders, and they ran up to a police officer. We weren't quite sure what they were doing, and then we saw the officer start to smile, and inside their bags, it's been very, very hot here, sweltering heat. They pulled out cold bottles of water for that police officer, and that is how everybody here is just trying to chip in and help and try and heal this community and show a positive front. Orlando strong, Orlando united. That is the latest from Orlando. Heather Crawford, First Coast News.
Thank you, Heather.